Today, I'd like to speak a little about the theme of healing from loss. So today is actually 1 year anniversary of my dad's passing away. And so I'd like to speak a little bit more about this topic about healing from loss. So before I move into speaking a little bit more about that, I'd like to guide everyone in a short period of a mindful stretching activity. All right. So allowing yourself to sit comfortably, you can even choose to stand up wherever you are if this feels better and right for you. All right. Great. So let's just take this moment to, as we breathe in, taking this time to bring both your hands all the way up. So you can have your palms facing together. And as you breathe in, just allowing yourself to stretch all the way up. Just feeling into this stretch. And as you stretch your arms and hands, just making sure that your ears are also kind of touching along the side of your arms. So really sensing into the stretch down into the back. And now if you like to, just allowing yourself to tilt your head all the way up. Just feeling the stretch just a little bit more as you do this. And now as you breathe out, gradually just letting the hands come back down. And one more time, so breathing in, allowing yourself to lift up your hands all the way up. And this time around, just bending over to your left. Just sensing into that stretch down the side of the body. And then coming back to center. And now bending over to your right. And coming back to center. On the out breath, just gradually letting the hands come back down. And now dropping the chin. Bring it towards the front of the chest, just feeling into that stretch. And coming back to center. And now tilting the head towards the back. So very gently. So wherever you are right now, you can also just choose to engage in this gentle stretch. And bring awareness to this region of the body, the neck and also the head. And coming back to center. And now tilting the left ear towards the left shoulder. And coming back to center, and now tilting the right ear towards the right shoulder. And as we do this, just feeling to the stretch down the side of the neck. And gradually inviting yourself back to center. And now beginning to engage in a clockwise rotation of the head. Just doing this in your own pace. Using this as an opportunity to listen to what this body is telling us. Taking good care of ourselves. You can do this 3 rounds. And if you're done with the 3rd round, you can choose to change the direction of the rotation. And what's beautiful is that, as we are doing this, rotation, we know that we're doing it and just observing whatever sensation that arises. And gradually, when you're done, just returning back to center. And now beginning to, on an in-breath, lifting up both your shoulders towards your ears. And on the out-breath, just gradually shifting it and rotating it all the way to the back and down. All right, so breathing in, rolling it to the front, all the way up. And on the out breath, just gradually dropping it towards the back and down. And one more time. So breathing in, rolling the shoulders all the way up. And on the out breath, gradually just letting it come down. And now we're going to change the direction, right? So breathing in, so just bring it to the back, all the way to the top. And just engaging in this roll towards the front, so from the back to the front. And we are done, just coming back to center. All right, so if you wish to, just allowing yourself to invite your eyes to close very gently. And if you find that that's helpful, you can also just choose to lower your gaze on the ground. That's fine as well. So let's just begin by taking in 3 beautiful deep breaths. And at the end of the third breath, just opening into this spacious awareness of how you're feeling right now in this moment. After a period of very gentle stretching in the upper body, noticing the sensations in the body after those stretches and movement. And just beginning to bring to your awareness all the different sounds that might be arriving in your immediate environment right now. So for myself, as I'm leading this practice, I can beginning to hear into the busyness of the traffic. And even the sounds of the birds. Just taking this moment to observe what has changed for you since you embarked on this practice a couple of moments before. What are you noticing in this moment right now? Choosing to let whatever that is already here to be exactly the way it is. And that includes this breath. Realizing that in the earlier moments, the breath has been breathed into the body all on its own. So in the next few moments, we allow ourselves to just rest in awareness of this beautiful breath. Each breath is uniquely different and special. And not quite the same as the previous breath being breathed into the body. And at this moment, as we are sitting patiently and kindly with this breath, it's arriving naturally into this beautiful moment. How's the quality of this awareness that we're noticing right now? And I remember my teacher once said, and it was echoed by the founder of the Mindfulness-Based stress reduction, or rather often famously known as MBSR. This founder, his name is John Kabat-Zinn, and he once said to me that mindfulness practice is inherently a very forgiving practice. That as long as we are just allowing ourselves to be in this practice, no matter how it is, go wrong. So it's just this expanded kind awareness of choosing to turn towards what's present for us in this moment. So we don't need to be too caught up or worried that we can't focus or we have too many thoughts. All of this is okay, as long as you're aware of it. So in the next few moments, we allow ourselves to sit with awareness of this breath. Feeling to the area that you can sense it the most. So just remembering that every breath that we take into this body, every moment. So bring to mind a person that you love, care about. Choosing likewise to extend this loving kindness to this person. Whether this person is still in our lives or maybe may have left us, we can always still choose to wish them to be well and happy, no matter where they are. And at the end of the third breath, just gradually inviting your eyes to open. That's even beginning to wriggle your toes or move your fingers, and as you feel comfortable, just choosing to bring a beautiful smile on your face. And even taking this moment to thank yourself for having engaged in this period of practice as an act of self-care. So as I was mentioning at the start of today's session, I'd like to speak a little on healing from loss. So in fact, just a year ago from today was the day that my dad passed on, after struggling with a long drawn journey of battling with 3 multiple strokes as well as vascular dementia. So I have been his caregiver for almost 5 to 6 years, and it was really challenging, right? And in the past 1 year since his passing, it has not been an easy journey for me as well. What I realized is that healing from loss takes time, right? And what really helped me in this whole journey and process is really to begin to sit with the wave of emotions that come up from time to time. And I find that that is so important, right? To be able to serve with this wave of emotions. Dealing with loss has never been easy for many people, including myself. And I'd like to share that what has really helped me was really to sit with these emotions and just realizing that these emotions have a certain role to play. So for myself, initially it was a lot of a grief in terms of coping, with his passing, because ultimately I've been his main caregiver for almost 6 years. And so there was this sense of emotional attachment to the entire relationship that I had with my dad. And I began to realize that when I begin to beat myself up, have I done enough? It actually make the entire process a lot more challenging. And what I realized in this whole process was also to exercise self-compassion for myself, which is to begin to make peace with whatever there is. And I realized I actually find myself to be incredibly fortunate to be able to be on the giving end, right? To provide the care for him, to accompany him on most, if not all, of his hospital visits and appointments with the doctors and nurses. And so I realized that when I begin to make peace with and also accept that I have actually done a lot in this whole process, it makes the entire process much easier to heal from. And I find that mindfulness as a practice helps me to cultivate this awareness of just noticing, when these difficult emotions do arise, right? So, and I kind of want to relate this to a theme that I spoke about last week, which is noticing resistance. Sometimes when we deal with loss, and by no means it's just related to loss of a loved ones, sometimes it could be a loss of a relationship with someone that is still living. It could be a loss with something that we care about, perhaps our job, right? Because that gives us a sense of identity. And so what's really important, right, is for us to begin to acknowledge that, these feelings that we're experiencing are real, right? And the body is able to feel into that as well, be it, certain sensations that arises, we experience certain emotions. And so I invite all of us, when we experience, whether is it a sense of loss or difficult emotions, is to notice if there is any resistance coming up. So whether is it, suppressing the emotion, or whether is it in terms of the thoughts, such as the judgmental thoughts that we have towards ourselves, or towards the situation, or towards people around us. So in this whole journey, especially in this 1 year, I realized that resistance is a lot more difficult. It takes a lot more out of us than if we were to begin to let go of that resistance and instead to sit with and notice these emotions coming up. That actually frees me a lot from the negative emotions that come up. All right, so I hope that today's session has been helpful to you in any way. If you find that you are coping with a sense of loss, or perhaps working with challenging emotions, and that the loving kindness practice is one that's really useful that we can always return to.